Hello. Here at the Move Academy, when we're trying to teach our students a new trick or a new movement, we like them to try and get a feeling. It's one thing to be able to say to your hips, for instance, they've got to turn. It's quite another to be able to actually feel it. That's why I like to use teaching aids. And I found this one on the internet. It's actually developed for football training, but we're going to use it for golf. Basically just a belt with a carabiner and a tension cord attached. You can attach the tension cord to a wall or to the floor, whatever you want, but what we're trying to do is just get a feeling of the exercise that we're trying to do. Now, I think everybody knows you've got to turn your hips in a golf swing. The question is, how do you do it and what does it feel like when you do it correctly? If you actually look at the hip turn in the golf swing, what's happening is I'm rotating it in the downswing, my left hip backward and my right hip forward. So I'm rotating in this direction. The question is how do I do that and what does it feel like? What's actually happening is that I'm pressing with my left foot in a diagonal away from me, and I'm pressing with my right foot in a diagonal behind me. And by getting these two opposing forces, they help to turn the hips. So it's not just your glutes and your rotational muscles which are helping you to turn your hips, it's also your feet and the floor. You're pressing against the floor to help this rotation. And by using this resistance cord, you get a far more intense feeling of what you're doing when you're turning your hips. Not only that, you're building the muscles and the muscle speed that you're going to need in the golf swing. Now, there's a number of things you can test, and I would definitely recommend that you do the same drills on both sides. But for a right-handed golfer, we're really looking at how can we turn this left hip back and the right hip forward. So I can do the same drill by taking the carabiner off here and putting it onto the belt on the other side. I then stand, with the back to the camera, and I want the feeling to be of pressing back with the back foot and forward again with the front foot. And that will give me the rotation that I want to get with my hips. Once I can do that, and now I really do have the feeling that my hips want to turn by themselves, another thing I found we can use the brace for is getting the sequence correct in the downswing. I think everybody knows that you want to start the downswing with your hips, but not everybody is able to do it, especially if they've been hitting out their arms for years. So what we've actually found is by turning the belt around a little further and attaching the carabiner to the left hip, I can use this belt to start my downswing. By training with the belt as well, I'm actually training my core muscles because they're holding me still when the belt is trying to pull me backwards. You can see there a perfect sequence of movement without any thought whatsoever, just using the feeling of how the belt is turning me.